Earth was thriving. The Christmas lights were beaming, but no snow was falling, because white Christmases do not exist in England. The tree was erect, just like the old man dressed up as Sam. Lacking patience and thinking I was 10 steps ahead of my parents, I snuck downstairs at night. Scalextrics? There was no need for a box that big. I actually think my dad enjoyed them infinitely more than I did. Yet the significantly smaller box is what was always caught my eye, because I knew exactly what was in them. Those dimensions would catch my attention any day of the week. I just had no idea what one it was. In fear of whether I've been good enough for the last 12 months, as I was a complete shithead of a child, I scratched the surface with my nail, trying to be slick to reveal a part of the cover, only to be met with Wesley Snipes. Fuck. Having to find gratefulness in the thought that it added to my B collection of games for the greatest console to ever exist, I went to bed hoping that one of those games I failed to scratch the surface of in my only chance was going to blow my fucking mind. Because the PlayStation official magazine demo proved to me so. Got up and ran downstairs, grabbed the cases. Out the way, hag. Ran upstairs. Cousin follows. Fuck off. This is no longer a shared domain. The tale of saving the doomed princess is one we've heard time and time again. Retrieving the damsel in distress from imprisonment in a castle is a story that has spanned across all mediums and is a staple of adolescent storytelling. Sleeping Beauty, Rapunzel, Shrek, Mario, the list goes on. But my introduction into this trope was a princess that was useful. A princess who aided me, a princess who was the priority, a princess I wanted to save, and bizarrely, a princess that haunted me, as I did not want to let go. You load into Eco and it feels empty, dissonant with its sound palette, no greeting the player with the beautiful textures that are resonant within its soundtrack, just wind, reflecting through space and footsteps on the floor. The HUD is completely bare, no indication of health. You're not told where you are on a map. You're not told where to go with lighting, what to do, how to do it, no hints. You just instinctively move. Your camera view feels weirdly free, yet it's restricted. The objective is to clearly escape this mysteriously isolated castle as our character Eco is an outcast, locked away for the safety of his village. You figure out the mechanics out of intuition. You can move, interact, climb, and jump. But it's creepy, unwelcoming. You're not supposed to be free walking through these halls. It lacks a pulse with its dim lighting and subdued texture palette. Until...
在世上合格性合格性って損し大学生イベントじゃ
You can now save and protect.
特別しようばば何より
Companions are always helpful for enhancing the player's purpose,
Stop it!
to invoke an emotional attachment.
Are the people nice here?
But there are very few companions who leave a lasting impact on players,
What are you, my mother?
mainly because we are given a sense of responsibility that doesn't translate well through progression. It can even be detrimental to the overall experience. Not only are you trying to keep yourself alive, you have to juggle the burden of a game's design that revolves around the characteristics of this companion. Sometimes they're annoying, no use, no assistance, a burden. A chore that lacks agency or control. Whilst Yorda is a beacon of purity in a castle consumed by shadows. Shadows that spawn through the oppression of her own mother. Unlike the contemporary companion throwing in witty one-liners, Yorda is subtle. She is vulnerable and dependent on us. As a player, we feel a deep sense of responsibility because of her use within progression throughout the castle, and more importantly, how we bond with her. The R1 button serves as a poignant mechanic to deepen the emotional bond with our companion that emphasizes Iko's protective instincts and Yorda's reliance on him. It is a constant reminder of their interdependence and, more importantly, their partnership. You can't help but feel like you are missing something after your right index finger lets go. This glued position and pressure that your hands have become accustomed to feels wrong once it changes. Letting go momentarily because the game forces you to do so, only to make you feel like you need to hurry up. The anxiety builds as you know leaving Yorda by herself is the only way you can fail. Iko also isn't a typical archetype of a game protagonist either. He can't die by being attacked, he is simply pushed aside, restrained. But there is a representation of personal failure when he fails to prevent Yorda drowning back into the imprisonment of her mother's shadows, consumed by darkness. A restart that is caused by us players forgetting the purpose of our role in this game. A protector, who sympathetically yet heroically decides to save a stranger who is suffering a similar fate to his own. And the fact that Yorda has the capabilities to help Iko escape, as naively he would have wanted to help her even if she had no practical use. Which makes the cooperative gameplay mechanics nothing short of brilliant. I said the word burden when talking about other companions, and you would think that literally holding a companion's hand for the majority of the game would be just that. But it's not. In fact, it's one of the best parts of the game. Let me use an example and explain myself.
Ashley,
Don't come!
Yeah, boy.
take it easy.
No! Get away!
Calm down. Everything's going to be just fine.
The roles that the two companions have are very similar. Two characters that are in constant need of protection from us. You see, the flow of gameplay within Iko has the opportunity to be momentarily disrupted because of our companions successfully, mainly because That's the only time it happens. Whilst Resident Evil 4 has two unavoidable ways of disrupting the flow of our game. Juggling your inventory to fight off different variations of enemies leads to fragmented gameplay. Intense moments can literally just be paused, dampening the survival horror aspect. When you then add the responsibility of having a companion who really does not hold their own in any way, shape or form, it's easy to point the blame at the annoyance that is Ashley because you have to prioritize her existence instead of your own. As much as it hurts to slag off Resident Evil 4, quite frankly I'm appalled that I'm allowing myself to do so. It is one big escort mission, so contextually in terms of narrative it does make sense, but when translated to game, it doesn't fit that well. You mix that in with a countdown timer that is resources and it often leads to frustration. I failed the game because I needed to help you. I failed the game because you were in the way. But I failed because I let you get taken away from me is an entirely different emotional response. Yorda genuinely has purpose that aids the game design. You need Yorda throughout the game for the sake of the puzzles within the castle. Even though she relies on you, you need to rely on her just as much. There is an entirely different form of engagement when you are purposely fighting against the things that are harming your companion and dragging them to safety from harm's way, and then just chasing them down, shoot a bullet, then they return to your side. But intentional disruption that doesn't change the pace of an already vague environment and game is perfect. Something I have seen a lot when it comes to the praise of Eco is its storytelling, but not necessarily for the right reasons. As hardware evolved and developers had the opportunity to craft 3D characters, not only visually, but give them more authenticity personally, through their voices, facial expressions, and lifelike animations. But Eco decided to take an entire step back to this revolutionary norm and rely on atmosphere and simple visual and audible gestures. Silent storytelling has the opportunity to allow people to really engage with what is being shown. You're not being told or directed through dialogue, you are just interpreting what you are seeing. Instead of identifying with the characters in front of you because of personality traits, you have the opportunity to project yourself onto them. There is a gigantic difference between telling someone something and then proving it. Silent storytelling has the opportunity to do the latter more efficiently. But that's for a static medium. Where games differ though is the addition of intuition, problem solving, adaptability, exploration, and agency. Games already have so many ways of keeping us engaged, but having cinematics that give so little makes you really think about what you are seeing, and certainly adds to the brilliance of Eco. Now, Eco and Yorda have the ability to talk, but they aren't speaking the same language, and until after your first completion, you only receive one perspective of the conversation. So although words are being used in the context of storytelling and navigating the narrative, it's cryptic and brief. But that's far from a problem. In fact, it's a huge reason to why Eco's story is so immersive. We have a character that knows the environment, a character who could have easily been a tool that assists our exploration for the sake of conquering the environment, making the puzzles easier and level design feel less expansive, but we don't get that. We have to be wary of the areas that we have explored, be experimental without guidance, and more importantly, be curious to progress. Now, it might sound like I'm the one being vague and brief, but that is for a very good reason. I wanted to set this video out by not ruining too much of Eco, simply because if you haven't experienced it, you have severely missed something incredible, an important story, an important adventure, and something important within games that is often imitated, but will never be replicated. Instead of completely unloading and spoiling everything the game has, I thought it would be better to tell you why and how.